Related research. One of Erikson's major contributions was to extend personality development into adulthood. By expanding Freud's notion of development all the way into old age, Erikson challenged the idea that psychological development stops with childhood. Erikson's most influential legacy has been his theory of development and, in particular, the stages from adolescence into old age. He was one of the first theorists to emphasize the critical period of adolescence and the conflicts revolving around one's search for an identity. Adolescents and young adults often ask, "Who am I? Where am I going? And how am I going to get there?" How they answer these questions plays a large role in what kinds of relationships they develop, who they marry, and what career paths they follow. In contrast to most other psychodynamic theorists, Erikson stimulated quite a bit of empirical research, much of it on adolescence, young adulthood, and adulthood. Some recent studies on adolescence, for example, has included research by Fowler and Dell, Markstrom and Iborra, and Rees and Yanis. We focus, however, on two recent studies of generativity in midlife, namely life changes and parenthood. Generativity and life changes. Erikson defined generativity as the generation of new beings as well as products and new ideas. Generativity is typically expressed not only in bringing up children and fostering growth in young people but also in teaching, mentoring, creating, and storytelling activities that bring new knowledge into existence and pass on old knowledge to the next generation. Dan McAdams and his colleagues have been major figures in research on generativity and have developed the Loyola Generativity Scale, LGS, to measure it. The LGS includes items such as I have important skills that I try to teach others and I do not volunteer to work for a charity. The scale measures several aspects of generativity, including concern for the next generation, creating and maintaining objects and things, and person narration, that is, the subjective story or theme that an adult creates about providing for the next generation. In one recent study of generativity, Jack Bauer and Dan P. McAdams investigated the association between four themes of personal growth during two important life changes, namely career change and religion change. Integrative growth themes are primarily cognitive in nature and revolve around one's ability to think in complex terms and to contemplate one's life goals, whereas intrinsic themes are primarily emotional and revolve around one's ability to feel better about one's life. Agentic or personal themes involve self-understanding, personal goals, and feeling good about oneself, whereas communal themes involve understanding relationships, moral reasoning, and concern for others. In short, agentic is similar to self-focus and communal is similar to other focus. Bauer and McAdams predicted that integrative themes would predict ego development, whereas intrinsic, agentic and communal themes would predict well-being. In addition, they predicted that career changers would be higher on agentic themes and religion changers would be higher on communal themes. Participants were recruited from the community, and each had to be going through either a major career change or a religion change. The sample was 64% female, had a mean age of 41, was 72% European American, had a median income between $30,000 and $40,000, and 2/3 had college degrees. Participants wrote 1 to 2 page narratives about changes in their career or religion. These changes were coded on the four themes: integrative, intrinsic, agentic, and communal. Participants also completed 2 questionnaires on life satisfaction and a sentence completion measure of ego development. Results supported the first prediction that integrative themes would correlate with ego development but not with life satisfaction, and that the 3 other themes, intrinsic, agentic, and communal, were related to life satisfaction. Participants with the highest levels of ego development had transition stories that emphasized learning and integrating new perspectives of self and others. In contrast, participants whose transition stories emphasized the importance of personal happiness, meaningful relationships, and contributing to society had higher levels of well-being. Results partially supported the second prediction, that is, religion changers were more likely to have communal growth themes, but career changers were not more likely to have agentic themes. In addition, and somewhat unexpected, participants undergoing religion changes were more likely to mention integrative themes than career changers, perhaps reflecting the fact that religious institutions emphasize the role of ideological meaning-making. Generativity and Parenting. In a study on generativity and parenting, Mylene Morphy and colleagues investigated two forms of generativity, agentic and communal, across 4 domains: parenting, occupation, volunteering, and leisure activities, and their relation to psychological well-being. In addition, the authors examined whether there were any gender differences in each kind of generativity. The researchers studied 50 mothers and 48 fathers who had children between the ages of 15 and 22. Morphy and colleagues measured generative acts in both the agentic and communal domains, primarily using the adult's interests and attitudes interview and secondarily from the generative behavior checklist devised by de St. Aubin and McAdams. They measured life satisfaction by a questionnaire. Results showed that although men were more likely to work in non-helping professions, engineer, executive, laborer, etc., they did not perform more agentic acts across the 4 domains than women. However, women, compared with men, did perform more communal acts overall as well as in the occupational, leisure, and volunteer domains. Moreover, and contrary to Bauer and McAdams, none of the generative acts in either domain were related to men's life satisfaction. Women who performed more communal generative acts overall and in the parenting domain were less satisfied with their lives. That is, focusing primarily on the well-being of others seems to exact a price of women's satisfaction with their own lives. As put it, women's focus on others, including their children, may outweigh their attention to their own life satisfaction.